My name is GiBi and welcome to Week in Weird. I hope you enjoyed your week off last week, but we're gonna get right into the weirdness. Also, buy my merch. Lord Pickles apologizes for getting the number of people who died in the Grenfell Tower fire wrong while giving evidence. This story is silly. The only reason that it trended, or that I'm talking about it, is because this guy's name is Lord Pickles. It's kind of funny. Pickles is a funny word. In all seriousness, the first story this week is actually an update to one that we talked about last time. Last video, we talked about the Flash star Ezra Miller and how he had been arrested several times in Hawaii, and he was actually arrested again, this time on April 19th. Ezra Miller, known for playing the Flash, was arrested early Tuesday in Hawaii after allegedly throwing a chair at a woman and leaving her with a gash to her forehead. Last time he was arrested for assaulting people in a restaurant and breaking into people's homes and stealing their IDs and wallets. He was also arrested following a traffic stop at the intersection of a highway. In order to commit all those crimes, he would have to be in lots of places at once. He would have to be really fast. Thank you. That's the best joke I could come up with. On the subject of movies, Jurassic World Dominion's director says the Gigantosaurus is, quote, like the Joker. My favorite meme reaction to this was this image. Jurassic World Dominion is the third in the new trilogy of Jurassic World movies, and it's coming out in July, June, something like that, this summer. And there's gonna be a big new dinosaur to get you in the theater, because you care about seeing the big new dinosaur. And he's like the Joker. Now, of course, this should conjure an image in your mind of the dinosaur having a meticulous plot to take over the world, just like the Joker. Maybe he'll have guffawing, sycophantic followers. Maybe he'll have the mafia in his pocket. Maybe he'll look around and all he wants from the world is to make Chris Pratt sad, and he'll laugh at the thought. At least that's what I get from hearing that he's like the Joker. Let's find out what the director actually meant. It's being directed by Colin Trevorrow, and he said, "I wanted something that felt like the Joker. It just wants to watch the world burn." To help highlight this point, Trevorrow and the team shared an image that shows the fearsome dinosaur and some of the film's heroes. So as you can see, the main character is hiding behind a truck with a big dinosaur in the background. It's clearly showing the inner machinations of his mind that he just wants to watch the world burn. I don't know, I just think that the crux of the matter is that this is the dumbest quote I've ever read from a director. It seems like what Colin Trevorrow is doing is comparing literally anything to the Joker, if it's even slightly artful. And he wants to compare his dinosaur movie to the Joker. Speaking of stupid movies, Christopher Lloyd to star in movie based on the Spirit Halloween store. I don't know about you guys, but my local dilapidated abandoned mall that used to house a Kmart becomes a Spirit Halloween store every year. I love it. The movie, appropriately titled Spirit Halloween, features a new Spirit Halloween store popping up in a deserted strip mall, much like how they seem to crop up in the real world. Yes, I already feel it. I'm immersed already. I can't wait. Causing 3 middle school friends to challenge themselves to spend Halloween night locked in the store. However, the building is haunted by a spirit who possesses the animatronic characters in the store. Guys, is this going to be another script based on a failed Five Nights at Freddy's pitch? When the Five Nights at Freddy's movie was being made, it's technically still being made. But before they settled on a studio and people to actually write the movie, a bunch of scripts were being passed around Hollywood, and they got turned into things like Willy's Wonderland and that Banana Splits movie. And I would not doubt if this was either part of that big just rush of people wanting to write the script for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, or if at the very least it was inspired by that. Because 3 kids getting locked in an old Spirit Halloween with some animatronics, I mean, if that's not Five Nights at Freddy's, then I don't know what is. From the topic of a video game series about dead things coming back to life, we are now going to effortlessly transition to an article about a video game that just won't die, but now it's actually dead. That didn't make any sense. Club Penguin remake pulled by Disney. 3 arrested. If this story was just about a big corporation using the powers of copyright to enforce their own IP takedown, then I wouldn't care. I just like the little tag at the end, 3 arrested. It's a very serious crime to infringe on the Penguin copyright. Anyway, Disney bought Club Penguin, and then they shut down the original game, and now there's their own modern version of it. So you can no longer experience Club Penguin Classic. That was until the Club Penguin clone, Club Penguin Rewritten, was released a couple years ago. And it had millions of users, at least until it was taken offline. 3 people affiliated with the project were arrested. The website has been taken offline and seized by the police in London. These 3 people, these 3 hardened criminals, were arrested on April 12th for, quote, distributing materials infringing copyright. Apparently the guys have already been let out, so that's good. I hope that they don't actually serve jail time for this. I think Club Penguin had it right. I think a lot of people would be less mean to each other on Twitter if instead of just sending text out into the void, you were actually standing next to a physical manifestation of them in penguin form, and they could slap you. Speaking of people I want to slap, whoever caused this mix-up. Parent dressed as Easter Bunny hands out condoms at Texas elementary school. Not quite sure how you just accidentally do that, but let's read the story and find out. A Texas parent caused a furor this week after handing out Easter eggs to kids at some elementary school in Austin, Texas. Most of the eggs were filled with candy. Good. But a handful were packed with unopened condoms. I just skimmed this paragraph. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Okay, so the lady who was dressed up as the Easter Bunny and was giving out the eggs. Okay, she apparently worked at a pharmacy down the street and was part of a safe sex presentation at the clinic, which is why she had Easter eggs with condoms in them. And so she's a parent of a second grader who goes to this school. So she goes to the school to pick up her second grader while still wearing the costume. Now, I'm imagining like a full mascot costume. It might not have been that. It might just have been like face paint and some ears. I don't know why you're still wearing it at that point. But apparently she then gets mobbed by students at the school who want candy from the Easter egg bunny. Running out of supplies, she called her husband for help and he accidentally grabbed the wrong eggs. He grabbed the wrong eggs from the presentation that they were just giving. She was then asked to leave and she simply moved to a public sidewalk and continued to give away the eggs. This is literally right outside the walls of a school and there's a stranger giving out candy to children. We can call the Easter Bunny lady here an idiot, or we can call her husband an idiot, but I'm sorry, the school has more responsibility than that to make sure kids don't go running up to an adult just because they're giving out candy. I'm not one to believe in conspiracies, but you don't just accidentally show up dressed as the Easter Bunny to a school. Okay, now we're going to totally switch gears to something very sad. If any of you are my age, so like mid-20s, then you probably grew up with the Ice Age films. First one, pretty good. Didn't watch the other ones. I don't know. Anyway, the most famous things from those Ice Age movies, basically like the equivalent of the Minions to the modern day generation of Illumination films, was Scrat, the little chipmunk rat thing. He's a squirrel. I should have known that. Anyway, you have this little prehistoric squirrel and he tries to get this acorn and he just never gets it. Across all the movies, he never got his little acorn. Well, Blue Sky Entertainment was the animation department owned by Fox, and when Disney bought Fox, they acquired Blue Sky. Well, Disney did not need another animation studio, so after a couple years, they have now shut them down permanently. They still own all of their intellectual property, so like if they wanted to make another Ice Age movie, they could, but the studio, the employees, the overhead, the computers, all that stuff, they have now disbanded. So in the final days of Blue Sky Studios, the legendary animation studio decided to create a final short film featuring Scrat, the prehistoric squirrel from the Ice Age franchise. Now, I've not seen this yet, and obviously I can't show the entire thing because it's their entire short, and they probably don't want it shared, but I will leave a link to this in the description, and you'll probably get some of my better reactions to this final, beautiful ending, this cap on their entire 20-ish year long history. We have Scrat, and he is making his way toward the acorn, and he is lovingly caressing it. He's gonna bury it in the ice, but he decides, no, he does not want to bury it in the ice for the future. For his future will never come, for you see, they are shutting down the animation studio. So he starts to bite into it, and he looks around to make sure that nobody's going to come out of the blue and take it from him. And then he eats it, and then he finishes eating it, and he looks around, and he's done. And he goes off to find another acorn. After all of these years, Scrat the squirrel has finally gotten his acorn. This is like when the actor who played Steve returned to Blue's Clues and apologized for leaving us and breaking our hearts when we were 4 years old, and even though we're all adults now and probably shouldn't have cried at that, we still did. Maybe that was just me. And with that, I think I'm going to end this episode of Week in Weird. thank you for watching. Along the side of this screen, you will see a list of my patrons. We have a couple new names joining us this week, and if you would like to join them too, you can head on to my Patreon in the description. Since it's been 2 weeks since my last video, I've actually seen 2 movies. You don't want to hear my opinion on Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore, because I'm just going to go all nerdy on you. So instead, I'm going to talk about The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. In case you don't know anything about it, it is a Nicolas Cage movie in which he plays himself. He plays Nick Cage, a struggling actor who's decided to give up on Hollywood. And he is then hired for millions of dollars by an eccentric rich guy overseas to go and visit him for his birthday party. And a lot of hilarious hijinks ensue. I thought the movie was fantastic. Some of the people I saw it with didn't love it, but I thought it was, despite the fact that it's rated R, it was very clean humor. There was no gross out stuff. There was even, for like the action scenes, there wasn't a lot of blood. There was nothing gross. There was no, like, butt stuff. I don't know, when I think rated R comedy, I think stupid, like Jonah Hill movies. I thought this movie was genuinely hilarious. It was, like, one of the highest rated movies of all time for a short period, and it definitely deserves that. Really, the only thing it's rated R for is that they say the F word a couple times, so if you don't mind that, I really don't see anything in this movie that would be inappropriate for even, like, older teens. Fantastic movie, 9 out of 10. I just wanted Nick Cage to reprise his role as Ghost Rider.